Every rider remembers their first dream bike, but for thousands of owners, that dream turned into a financial disaster. These are the bikes mechanics say to avoid, the ones with insane service hours, sky-high parts cost, and problems that never end. They look legendary, but they bleed you dry. So before you roll one into your garage, hear this. Your dream ride might be your biggest regret. Here are the 5 bikes mechanics say will ruin your wallet. Number 5. BMW R18. There is something magnetic about this machine at first glance. The low stance, the wide cylinders, and the throwback chrome whisper to nostalgia that many riders still feel deep in their bones. It looks like the road remembered, solid, classic, familiar. But once the charm fades, what remains is a heavyweight cruiser that tests both patience and pocketbook. The R18 was built to pull heritage from thin air, a modern copy of a 1930s legend fitted with 21st century electronics. It is large, proud, and unmistakably German in its precision. Yet that precision carries a cost. Routine service requires time, and time means labor hours. The Boxer engine's design spreads cylinders wide, which gives it that signature look but makes access to valve covers slow and deliberate. What should be a simple check turns into an afternoon of disassembly, tools, and torque specs. Riders who grew up adjusting push rods in the garage now find themselves budgeting for dealer service they never used to need. At idle, it shakes like a beast pretending to be calm. The torque pulses left to right through the frame, a motion some love and others learn to tolerate. On the highway, it steadies and hums like an engine built for freight trains, but when that mass moves, the tires feel every bit of it. Rear rubber disappears faster than expected, and each replacement costs dearly. The weight that makes it feel grounded also works against the wallet, adding wear to brakes, bearings, and even clutches. Older riders appreciate stability, but not every one of them wants to wrestle a machine this size in a driveway. Moving it by hand feels like towing a small car. Drop it once and you are looking at chrome bills that could fund a full vacation. Even minor parking lot mishaps sting. The aesthetic that looks so strong on the showroom floor becomes a liability when repair parts are priced in hundreds instead of tens. On long rides, the R18 offers a curious blend of grace and strain. The seat rests low, which helps reach but limits comfort over distance. The riding triangle feels natural for the first 100 miles, then narrowness at the knees and vibration through the grips start to whisper fatigue. Heat from those massive cylinders rises into the thighs, especially at stoplights on summer days. The exhaust note is deep and beautiful, until you realize the music costs fuel. Mileage sits far below what touring riders expect, and premium fuel is mandatory. The R18 carries modern tech that complicates what once was simple. Its compact digital cluster and layered menus steal focus, while soft brake feel reminds riders that weight cannot be tuned away. Mechanics admire its craftsmanship but curse tight layouts, costly parts, and labor-heavy service. Battery access, spark plugs, and shaft maintenance all test patience. For retirees, it becomes a contradiction. Beautiful, proud, yet expensive to keep alive. The sound and stance turn heads, but ownership turns costly. When warranty coverage fades, the truth appears. Every mile of pride demands $1 of care, and the bills never ride light. Resale reflects the pattern. Initial demand was high, but used markets cool quickly. Buyers fear maintenance depth and limited dealer coverage in rural areas. Trade-in values fall faster than competitors, leaving loyal owners holding a beauty that depreciates faster than it wears out. The R18 is not a bad motorcycle. It is a statement, an echo of the past delivered in modern excess. For riders who remember wrenching in driveways, it feels distant, sealed, and corporate. Every oil change is a reminder that the cost of nostalgia can outweigh the comfort it brings. It is heavy in hand, expensive to feed, and loyal only to schedules written in metric precision. Those who fall for its style often learn too late that style is the easiest part to buy and the hardest to maintain. Powering the R18 is a bold display of old-school muscle and precision engineering. Beneath its broad frame lives 91 horsepower from a 1,802 cubic centimeter Boxer twin that delivers 116 pound-feet of torque with unshakable confidence. Dual front discs and a single rear disc, each backed by an anti-lock braking system, bring that strength under control. A telescopic front fork pairs with a steel twin-sided swing arm and central spring strut to smooth the ride. With a wet weight of 761 pounds and a seat height of 28.3 inches, it feels substantial yet grounded. Priced from $15,395, it rides with both heritage and authority. The next bike on this list proves that even when a machine looks ready for war, the real battle begins in the service bay. If you've ever owned a bike that nearly drained your wallet, drop its name below. Hit that like button if you felt that pain. Your story might save another rider. Number 4. Ducati Diavel V4. Every rider has that moment when speed tempts reason, when pride meets pure engineering. The Diavel delivers that temptation in flawless Italian metal, but the thrill does not come cheap. From the first ignition, the Diavel feels like controlled danger. The exhaust note cuts the air like a war drum, the throttle sharp enough to make even experienced riders grip tighter. It looks like nothing else on the road. Part cruiser, part drag racer, all attitude. Yet, that attitude hides complexity that turns every maintenance call into a reminder that Italian brilliance always demands tribute. Where a Harley lets you wrench on a Saturday, this one insists on specialists, diagnostics, and factory parts that never come cheap. Older riders respect speed but value dependability. With the Diavel, dependability becomes a luxury. Chain tension must stay perfect. Electronics crave clean voltage, and the cooling system demands precision. Miss a service window and sensors begin to argue. The timing is delicate, the oil specific, and labor costs climb before you even order parts. For mechanics, it is a marvel. For owners, it can feel like a hostage negotiation. Every valve check arrives with a price tag that could buy a weekend getaway. On the road, the Diavel seduces instantly. That broad rear tire grips like sin and leans with unexpected confidence. The torque rushes forward, smooth yet relentless, a feeling few cruisers can replicate. But that same power eats through rubber faster than most wallets can keep up. Rear tires last thousands fewer miles than expected, and replacements come dear. Even brakes show their fatigue quickly under the stress of constant acceleration. The more you ride it the way it begs to be ridden, the sooner you pay for it. The Diavel thrills in bursts but punishes endurance, its heat, vibration, and aggression testing older riders' patience. Every detail demands precision. Fresh lube, exact pressure, premium fuel. Miss one, and it protests instantly. Complex electronics replace wrenches with laptops, and each malfunction becomes a costly summons. Beautiful yet distant, it commands awe more than affection. Resale tells another story. Buyers love the look but hesitate at upkeep. Depreciation runs faster than the quarter mile because everyone knows what ownership means. The second owner always inherits the first owner's indulgence and often his repair bills. The Diavel draws attention everywhere, but attention does not pay service hours. Still, for those who crave prestige, this motorcycle stands tall. It looks sculpted rather than assembled. Lines curve like muscle, and every surface feels designed to make the rider appear larger than life. Pulling up at a gas stop, you feel the stares, the quiet nods, and that familiar pride. It delivers admiration on demand, which for some riders is worth every dollar that follows. But pride should not come with fear. This machine blurs that line. Owners learn quickly that joy rides turn expensive when electronics act up or the rear tire flattens faster than expected. It is not failure. It is the price of brilliance. Riders who can afford both the bike and its upkeep rarely regret the power. Those who count the bills remember them longer than the torque. For the veteran crowd who grew up fixing machines in driveways, the Diavel teaches a hard truth. Not every motorcycle that looks like rebellion rides free. It reminds us that torque without trust drains the soul as surely as it drains the account. Beauty has weight, and here, that weight rests on the wallet. At the heart of the Diavel roars a masterpiece of controlled chaos, a 1158 cubic centimeter V4 engine pushing out 168 horsepower and 93 pound-feet of torque that hit with surgical precision. Dual front discs and a single rear disc, enhanced by a cornering anti-lock braking system, reign in the Fury with confidence. A fully adjustable inverted front fork teams with a single rear shock to keep every surge planted and poised. Weighing in at 492 pounds with a seat height of 31.1 inches, it feels both aggressive and agile. Starting at $27,195, this machine turns raw power into art. The next bike on this list proves that when luxury meets complexity, even comfort can become a costly burden. But before the next hit, kit up. Description has all my vetted gear and accessories. Number 3. BMW K160 GTL. Every touring rider dreams of a machine that feels like flight on asphalt, smooth and endless. The K160 GTL was built to be that dream. On paper, it carries the kind of precision and luxury that only deep engineering can deliver, yet in garages across the country, that same precision has become a quiet source of frustration. The GTL glides like an aircraft over broken pavement. Every movement feels deliberate, every vibration filtered, every detail polished to German perfection. For riders who once racked up cross-country miles on a Goldwing or Electra Glide, that refinement sounds like peace on wheels. But beneath the calm exterior lies a cost few see coming. Maintenance on the GTL demands special tools, tight tolerances, and long hours. Even simple procedures like checking valves or changing coolant require the removal of fairings and bodywork that feel more at home on a sports car than a touring bike. Mechanics respect it, but they also bill it by the hour. Older riders prize comfort and endurance, and the GTL gives both in abundance. The seat cradles low, the grips stay warm, and the ride feels unshakable at highway speeds. Yet the very systems that make it comfortable are the same ones that make upkeep a financial marathon. The electronically controlled suspension system works wonders for smoothing roads, but when sensors fail or shocks leak, replacement costs feel like luxury car territory. Add in the 6 cylinders, tight engine bay, and a parts catalog priced for the well-heeled, and ownership turns into an exercise in budgeting. The GTL strength is also its trap. It is heavy yet deceptively balanced. The moment it tips past center in a parking lot, the rider feels all 789 pounds at once. Drops are rare but costly. Replacing fairings or mirror housings can mean weeks of waiting and thousands of dollars in repairs. Touring riders know accidents are not the only cause of expense. Routine wear on such a complex system adds up mile by mile. On open roads, the machine sings. That flat 6 hums like an aircraft engine, producing effortless pull from idle to redline. Passing power is instant, intoxicating, and silent. The transmission shifts smoother than thought itself, and for long stretches of highway, the bike feels invincible. But luxury brings heat, and heat brings wear. Every 1,000-mile run adds unseen stress to hoses, seals, and electronics. Mechanics who have worked on the GTL often call it overbuilt for the average owner, a machine that demands precision-level care most home garages cannot provide. The GTL pampers riders with heated seats, navigation, and flawless handling, yet every luxury adds complexity and cost. Premium fuel, buried filters, and proprietary parts test patience and wallets alike. Once fixable with wrenches and friends, it now demands laptops and dealers. Brilliant but unforgiving, the GTL turns long-distance comfort into a high-maintenance commitment. For riders in their 60s and 70s who value simplicity, the GTL feels like progress with a price tag attached. It delivers a first-class ride, but asks for first-class upkeep. Owning it is less about passion and more about commitment. You love it for what it gives, and you pay for what it takes. The bike becomes a partnership, one built on trust, service schedules, and steady spending. Even resale reflects its reputation. Few buyers are brave enough to take on a used one without complete records. The depreciation curve steepens quickly once warranties fade. Those who keep them long-term swear by the comfort, but they all share the same truth. It rides like a dream and costs like a habit. Beneath the refined surface of the GTL lies a symphony of power and precision. A 1,649 cubic centimeter inline-six engine producing 160 horsepower and 132.7 pound-feet of torque that glide rather than roar. Dual front discs and a single rear disc managed by an integral anti-lock braking system deliver flawless stopping confidence. The duo-lever front suspension and paralever single-sided swing arm work in harmony to smooth every mile with composure. With a wet weight of 789 pounds and a seat height of 29.5 inches, it feels commanding yet balanced. Priced from $27,745, the GTL blends luxury touring with quiet authority. The GTL stands as both marvel and warning. It proves that comfort, technology, and torque can live together, but not without consequence. For riders who measure satisfaction in miles per dollar, the balance is hard to justify. It will carry you across the country in quiet luxury, but the silence between service visits can grow expensive. The next motorcycle on this list shows that even when torque multiplies, the price of complexity can climb higher. Still, number 2, Triumph Rocket 3. R-Power has a sound, a weight, and a presence, and the Rocket embodies all three the moment it fires to life. It is not a machine built to blend in, it is built to dominate. From the first twist of the throttle, it feels like gravity belongs to your right hand. The Rocket is a marvel of torque and audacity, a motorcycle that makes no apologies for excess. Its engine displaces more than some compact cars, and when that mass of metal begins to spin, the world feels smaller and faster. Yet while its power is legendary, the cost of owning it carries a different kind of gravity. Every inch of it is engineered to a degree that few garages can service without specialized tools, and that precision comes with a price. Oil changes require patience. Tire swaps test budgets, and the cooling system demands respect. It is not a bike you work on. It is one you maintain carefully by the book, with a steady hand and an open wallet. Riders who have spent decades on big twins understand torque as something that pulls steady and sure. This machine turns torque into shock therapy. Twist the throttle and it shoves the horizon toward you with no hesitation. The acceleration feels endless, like a freight train gaining speed on open track, but power that fierce chews through components quickly. Rear tires rarely live past a few thousand miles, and those massive wheels cost more than entire used motorcycles from the 90s. Chain or shaft, every link and bearing pays the price for that strength. Comfort surprises many first-time owners. The seat is sculpted and low, with controls that allow a natural reach. The bike feels planted even at low speeds, and the weight disappears once it rolls forward. Still, 700 pounds is 700 pounds, and every parking lot turn reminds you of it. Drop it once and you're back, and your bank account will remember. Replacement parts arrive at British prices, and paint-matched pieces make any mishap feel monumental. For riders in their 60s who prefer long, steady days over bursts of adrenaline, that reality sinks in faster than the torque rush fades. Heat is constant company. The massive engine radiates warmth even on mild days, and in traffic it builds to levels that make you check your gear twice. Cooling fans work over time, but they cannot fight physics. Riders find themselves planning routes to avoid city congestion, not for the scenery, but for comfort. The Rocket demands airflow like a living thing and starves for it when idling too long. The Rocket rewards precision and punishes neglect, demanding strict maintenance and costly parts. Its triple growl commands attention, each ride feeling ceremonial and proud. Yet power brings expense. Labor, fuel, and tires all remind riders that mastery has a price. On open highways, it feels immortal, but ownership remains a burden only true craftsmen accept. Power in its purest, most unapologetic form lives inside the Rocket. Its 2,458 cubic centimeter engine unleashes 165 horsepower and an earth-moving 163 pound-feet of torque that feel almost supernatural. Dual front discs and a single rear disc, guided by optimized cornering anti-lock braking, keep that Fury disciplined under pressure. A 47-inch inverted front fork pairs with a fully adjustable rear shock to balance brute strength with poise. Weighing 699 pounds with a 30.4-inch seat height, it carries its mass like confidence itself. Starting at $25,495, it embodies the kind of power that demands both reverence and restraint. The next bike on this list shows that when luxury and technology combine with that same ambition, even perfection can become a burden. If honest motorcycle talk matters more to you than marketing hype, subscribe now. Join riders who value truth, torque, and experience, because this channel was built for men who've lived the miles. Number 1. Yamaha V-Max. Some motorcycles carry an attitude. This one defined it. The V-Max was born from an era when engineers chased raw power first and asked questions later. For decades, it stood as a symbol of mechanical defiance, a muscle bike that treated restraint as an afterthought. The V-Max has always been a machine of contradictions. It rides like a weapon and looks like a legend. At first, it seduces with the promise of endless acceleration, the kind that stretches your arms and your grin at the same time. But the moment the thrill fades, the reality of ownership arrives. It is a motorcycle that rewards commitment and punishes neglect. Every ride tests both the road and the rider's resolve. Those who underestimate it soon learn that horsepower is only half the story. The rest is maintenance, patience, and money. The engine itself is a masterpiece of brute force. It spins smooth yet violent, a surge of torque that comes alive with a twist and never really stops pulling. On highways, it feels unstoppable, swallowing miles and rivals alike. Yet that same energy devours consumables faster than most owners expect. Tires wear down in half the time of a standard cruiser, chains and sprockets strain under constant load, and fuel disappears like a bad habit. Premium gas is not a choice, it is a requirement. The V-Max drinks deep and it drinks often. Handling demands respect. The weight, though balanced, feels every bit of 683 pounds when leaning into tight corners or backing into parking spots. The low seat makes it manageable but not forgiving. Riders who grew up on lighter cruisers or touring bikes will feel the heft instantly. It is a motorcycle that insists on confidence and punishes hesitation. Comfort has never been the V-Max's focus. The seat feels firm, the reach slightly stretched, and the suspension tuned for performance rather than distance. Around town, it is thrilling. On long rides, it becomes endurance training. Heat builds beneath the rider quickly, especially in summer traffic, and that famous intake roar can turn to fatigue on long stretches. Every sensation on this bike is amplified: the rush, the sound, and the strain. Maintenance separates the faithful from the casual. Valve checks, coolant flushes, and clutch replacements demand time and precision. The layout of the engine leaves little room for shortcuts. What seems like a simple task, changing plugs or accessing filters, often means removing panels and lifting tanks. Home mechanics can do it, but they need patience and space. Parts remain available but carry a premium. For those without the tools or time, dealership labor costs climb fast. The V-Max is not a touring companion or a daily commuter. It is a statement of purpose. A motorcycle built for riders who still believe in mechanical honesty over digital convenience. But honesty has a price. Insurance companies know what it is capable of, and premiums follow accordingly. Fuel economy stays low and regular services are non-negotiable. As the miles roll on, the costs add up quietly, just like the admiration it commands at every stoplight. Older riders still recall the V-Max's debut shock, an untamed factory monster that redefined power. Today, crowded roads and rising costs make its ownership a test of endurance. Yet when that deep rumble fires, rebellion lives again. Every launch, every echo reminds riders of a time when courage, not computers, defined what it meant to ride. Beneath the muscular frame of the V-Max beats a force of nature, an engine built not for subtlety but for domination. Its 1,679 cubic centimeter heart delivers 197 horsepower and 123 pound-feet of torque, turning every twist of the throttle into an event. Dual front discs and a single rear disc, supported by an anti-lock braking system, provide the control needed to tame its surge. A fully adjustable cartridge front fork and a single rear shock manage the chaos with surprising grace. At 683 pounds wet and a seat height of 30.5 inches, it feels heavy yet alive beneath the rider. Originally priced at $17,999, it remains the ultimate symbol of unfiltered performance. A legend forged in speed, strength, and the price every rider pays for chasing power. The next time you see one rumble past, you will understand why mechanics smile at the sound and shake their heads at the bill. It is the last of its kind, pure, proud, and forever hungry for more. Every rider learns the hard way. Freedom isn't free. But if this video saved you a few $1,000 or a few headaches, give it a like. Share your story in the comments. What bike burned your wallet the worst? And if you want more truth from the mechanics who actually fix these machines, subscribe right now, because next time we're revealing the bikes that look cheap but secretly last forever. Don't miss it.